Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2072. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm back in Visalia, California with a returning guest by the name of Melanie White. Melanie, welcome back to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Absolutely. Great to be here, Mark.
Well, always good to have you here, and I'm excited because you have some new things to share with my listeners today about what's happening at Hellwig Products and also what's going to be happening at Sema, and a lot of good things to talk about. And I love having guests back that have done things within their businesses that have made big changes, and certainly some big changes have happened there at Hellwig. So before I give you a new introduction, would you share something about yourself that maybe, since we last spoke, people don't know about you?
Something that people don't know about me. I'm an avid hiker, so I love to spend time outdoors. If I can get out, that's where I go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that's one thing that people wouldn't know about me.
You know, one thing that I found, getting out into nature is so important to our, physicalness, of course. Hiking is great for you, but your psyche, right? I mean, getting away from the work, the computers, and just being outdoors and breathing fresh air and looking around, it does something to you. And I grew up near the beach, and walking on the beach was the thing for me. It just reinvigorated me. And I just came back from the La Jolla Concours, and I took a nice long walk on the beach, something I haven't done in a long time, haven't traveled for a while since COVID. But is that what hiking does for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's an added benefit. I think, we're always plugged in, and being up in the mountains, there's no cell reception.
Yes.
So it's sort of that magic all around, right? Being in nature, being reset. And then I think also, there's just something magic that happens with nature, because I live really close to the sequoias, and there's the largest living thing on earth is a tree. And I just think about what that tree has seen.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's it makes me feel so small. And also, that time is going to go by so quickly. So it's this really cool reset in my head where it's oh my gosh, the things that I'm maybe nervous to do or don't, haven't gotten them done yet. It's I have so little time to do that. And then, thinking about I don't want to waste time on that.
Is that General Sherman, that tree? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yes,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yep.
Went to visit that tree when I was a kid. And it's definitely bigger than life, to use a bad pun, but it does it's like looking out to the stars for me, the universe. You feel very small and you think how long the universe has been around. It's hard to even get your head around. But then you realize, okay, I've got things I need to do. But you talk about unplugging. When I went for that walk on the beach, my son joined me and we were walking, and I kept kind of reaching for my phone because it would ping or buzz. And he goes, Dad, you can turn that thing off.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, I thought for a young generation, you're right. I will do that right now and focus on where we are and you.
Yeah. I know. It's funny. I have to go up to where I don't get cell reception, but it is true. I could just turn it off.
Yes. Yeah, we all need to remember that that's a possibility for sure. Well, let me give you a proper introduction because I'm excited to share some news with our listeners about what you're doing. Melanie White is the president, and she's the owner now, of Hellwig Products. It was founded in 1946. Hellwig Products manufactures forged steel suspension products for a wide variety of vehicles, including recreational vehicles, trucks, and SUVs. And they're an OE supplier for Oshkosh, Freightliner, and the United States military. Melanie recently certified Hellwig Products as a women-owned and operated company through the National Women's Business Enterprise. This year, she's running for a second term on the Sema Board of Directors, and in 2018, she was named Sema Person of the Year. Passionate about the industry, she feels that the 2.5 years she has served is not quite enough, and there's some unfinished business that she would like to continue to make a bigger difference in the automotive sector and the world. We'll be back in just a minute, but first a word from our sponsors, so give them a little love, and we'll be right back. I love Covercraft's new 5-layer all-climate cover. It was developed and engineered for anything Mother Nature can throw our way. It's very soft, breathable, and easy to store and pampers your paint and interior surfaces, providing maximum UV, rain, dust, and snow protection. Add their gust guards for windy conditions for extra protection. Their 5-layer all-climate cover is custom tailored with Covercraft's attention to detail, form and fit with a quality and attention that's been their standard since 1965. Covercraft protects cars, trucks, motorcycles, RVs, trailers, and watercraft too. Every one of my vehicles is protected by a Covercraft cover. And I have a deal for you. Use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order plus free shipping. That's right, 10% off and free shipping. Just type in the word YEAH, Y-E-A-H, 21 at checkout, YEAH21 at covercraft.com. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Most people don't think about their collector car insurance until their annual premium becomes due. Well, why wait and see if there are better options for your beloved rides? I didn't. Did you know if you change carriers before your policy runs out, your insurance company has to refund you the unearned portion of your policy premium? I did my homework, I shopped around, and I found American Collectors Insurance. And that's who protects my Porsche Turbo. That's right, the one I call my Orange Crush. They've been protecting collector vehicles since 1976. I encourage you to call my friends at American Collectors Insurance. Ask them about their agreed value policy. And if your collector vehicle is on your regular auto policy, you will be shocked at the savings, not to mention the assurance, should something bad happen to your ride, that you'll get what your vehicle is actually worth. Give them a call today for a quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of Mark Green at Cars Yeah! American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. That's American Collectors Insurance. Give them a call today. So, Melanie, let's talk first, for anyone who may have missed my first talk with you, a little bit of history on this company, because your great-grandfather, your grandfather, your father they've created a legacy that now you're carrying that torch forward into the future. And there's a great video, and I'll put a link to that on Melanie's show notes page, about their company. It's a real feel-good, but it gives you a sense of what's behind the Hellwig brand and the things that are resting on Melanie's shoulders now, full bore, to carry this heritage forward. But give us a little bit of history here, because it's fascinating.
Yeah, so I love thinking about, and I tell this story all the time. I'm sure my team is so tired of me telling this story, but I love to remember, where we came from as an organization. So my great-grandpa and grandfather had this idea for helper springs. The war was happening and we didn't have steel and very much available at the time. And so when it became available, they took their idea and started to manufacture. And they'd manufacture at night. So my great-grandfather had a full-time job, and then my grandpa was a senior in high school. So they'd manufacture at night during the week, and then they would go sell on the weekends. So they would sell door to door and also in small shops. But they'd go in Southern California, if you had a sagging vehicle, they would go knock on your door and say, hey, we can fix that. And once my great-grandfather sold you on it, my grandpa would install it, laying on the driveway, laying on his back in the driveway, and they would install it for $7. So It's always really fun to think about that for me, because, we ship all over the United States. We don't have that price point anymore.
No. Especially not this day and age.
So much has changed. Yeah, there's a lot that has changed, and then there's a lot that hasn't changed, like the way that we manufacture, which is made us unique, which was heat-treated, hot-formed. And so we still do that. But we ship all over the place. So our customers are everywhere. And when my grandpa was still alive, it was fun to have him come in and, he'd come and read the pallet, the shipping labels to find out where stuff was going, because he just was fascinated. I remember him just thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to New York, or we'd have some stuff that we would ship internationally too, and he just thought that was pretty cool. So.
Well, no kidding. I mean, when you start something like that, now $7 will barely buy you a cup of coffee. Can you imagine your great-grandfather, your father telling people, someday my great-granddaughter's going to run this company, and $7, you'll have to buy a cup of coffee for $7. So this is a good deal today.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think that blew my grandpa's mind when coffee became about $7.
Yeah. It's just incredible. Well, I would love to talk about this certification that you've done as a women-owned and operated company, because as I understand it, today, it's been for a little while, but you are the official owner, although it's been a family business, but you own the business. You are running the business. How important is this National Women's Business Enterprise to you, and what does it mean to you to be able to certify this company in this way? Because you think about the generations of the three men before, now a lady's in charge. That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I think, with that, the certification really allows us to be more competitive. It doesn't automatically give you a seat at the table, but it helps you get at least people willing to look at your proposal over other proposals. So I think that's it just gives you that competitive edge. And honestly, Mark, I look for a competitive edge wherever I can.
Well, we all do, especially nowadays. Holy cow.
Yeah. And I always felt like I was a little allergic to the touting, I'm a woman, and I've never felt like I'm disadvantaged in my position. And so I didn't want to really highlight that, but it adds a very good competitive advantage.
Well, sure.
And there are so many different programs that within big organizations in diversity initiatives that, they're really trying to hit certain numbers. And by having this certification, I can help them.
Well, sure.
Hit those numbers. So that's it's fun, and it's like a win-win for everyone.
Well, absolutely. And I think you said best, put you at the table at a seat. Then they can evaluate the integrity of the business, the type of products that you produce, and the history and legacy. And how could anybody say no? I mean, I don't know how they could. Now, one thing I want to touch on, because this is huge, and we've alluded to it a little bit here, is what's happening with inflation, what's happening, of course, since COVID with supply chain issues. How have you guys managed and dealt with that? Because everybody I've had in the show, and my wife and I were talking about it last night, this COVID situation affected literally everyone in some way. Some people horribly, of course, we lost people, but in the state of businesses, everybody it's touched, and it's still touching people because of the supply chain issue, which I hear every day. So how have you guys coped and managed with that? Because you're dealing with raw steel. You got to have the steel to make the products.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been dynamic.
Dynamic. That's a nice way to put it.
And it has been pretty challenging to keep up with it. And we have done more price increases over the last year than we did the 10 years prior, because we've been just trying to keep up with the prices coming to us. And it's been, like I said, dynamic. Not only are we seeing the prices go up, but also all of a sudden we're having to order things that we would order, have in stock a couple miles away, and it be a 2-day turnaround. We're looking at 12, 16 weeks for that.
Yeah,
so we are keeping more steel on hand than we've ever kept before, because we're buying into the future. I almost feel like we're buying futures a little bit by having it here too.
Well, yeah.
So we have a lot on hand, and that's been one of the ways that we've dealt with it. Blanket POs, all of the things that we could think of, we're doing it right now to keep up. But price, demand, all of that has been very dynamic.
I was talking to somebody when I was at the La Jolla Concours a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this issue, and the gentleman who doesn't have the kind of business where you have to buy raw products or any products to manufacture something said, well, what's the problem? Just order more. And I said, okay, well, where does the money come from to order more? Because typically businesses like to operate so that you get the product in the day you need it. That's the way the car industry has run for years, but you can't rely on that anymore. I had a guest on the show a few weeks ago that couldn't get sprayers for his liquid products, his car care products. The sprayer, he goes, I can't sell my products if you can't get it out of the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm having to buy, 6, 8, 12 months of sprayers, whereas before I could order them and get them in 2 weeks. This is that supply chain problem. Whenever you describe this to somebody that says, well, why can't I get my furniture sooner? I just want a table. Why isn't it here?
I know.
Well, they can't get the wood or the hinges. I mean, it's really affected.
Or a little bolt. I mean,
Yes.
There's silly things here that we, haven't been able to get that might cost, we were talking about it. It was a bolt and it's like, oh, that costs like 6 cents.
Yes.
And we're holding a product that we can't ship because of
a
some little
bolt.
thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's absolutely mind-boggling. The other issue, we were beginning of spring, my wife and I were looking at maybe some patio furniture, and this gentleman imports teak furniture, and he said, I used to be able to buy a container, ship a container for about $3,500. He said, now it's $35,000 from overseas, from Asia, where he gets his teak wood-made furniture. He said, that money has to go somewhere. It has to be passed down to the consumer, because where do I get it from? And so there's all these different things that you in business like this have to deal with. I used to deal with this kind of stuff in the old business. Now, thankfully, I don't have to. So, wow, it's huge. And this is where it kind of is a nice segue to my next question, the importance of SEMA. Now, you said on the board you were SEMA Person of the Year. Congratulations for that. Very cool.
Thank you.
Well deserved. Could you talk a little bit more to the listeners about the importance to SEMA? Because for those that aren't in the industry directly, SEMA seems like a cool car show with a lot of neat stuff. But SEMA is really valuable to help in situations like this. So SEMA, what has this done for you, and why is it so important for you to run again and be on the board again and continue this endeavor?
Yeah, I love SEMA and the industry, the automotive industry, has just been something that, I fell in love with. I remember my first SEMA show, I was the same. I thought, oh, this is a really cool car show. And then the more that I got involved, and I got involved on a volunteer basis early in my career, I realized, oh, we can do really cool stuff when we're able to maybe take off our company hat if that needs to happen. And then, if we're in a room all together, we can make so much more happen together than we can as an individual. And I just see right now in the landscape of the United States, especially what's happening with vehicles here, and just in the last 2.5 years. So when I ran for the SEMA board, it's always interesting to reflect back. Electrification was, it was definitely being talked about, but it's I feel like it's all that we're talking about right now. And, we don't have the infrastructure ready for that.
No, but especially California. Yeah. Power grid's a challenge down there.
Yeah. And in 2035, our governor says that we won't have anything but electric cars. And that's kind of spooky, right? When you don't have the infrastructure to support it.
Yeah.
And I think what I see with SEMA able to accomplish is influence in that area, right? There's a lot that's going on, in Sacramento. If you want to change your oil or put on a sway bar or a helper spring, do any work in your own driveway, you don't have that right in city limits right now.
Amazing.
And that's such a bummer. There's a huge car culture in the United States that I feel like is really getting threatened. And we just, as me, Melanie, I'm not going to have the ability to make the change I want to make unless I'm, in a bigger organization and we're all working together. And I think that's what I want to be, me, Melanie, on the SEMA board, right? Influencing that, because I have a son who's 12 and who knows, everyone jokes whether or not he's going to be in the business or, I have someone that says, oh, that's my next boss and points to Jensen. I would like that to be an opportunity, right? I don't want that to be decided for us that we're getting edged out of this market. So I really see our ability under SEMA to band together and defend our rights and defend this car culture here. So
it's so important. And, in our state here in Washington, our governor has decided 2030 is when they should stop allowing or ban the sale of gasoline vehicles. And That's not that far away.
No, it's not.
And I'm thinking of all the car dealerships going, well, they rely on manufacturers to produce these vehicles. Now, it's coming on strong, but still, the vast majority of vehicles sold are gas. I don't know how it's all going to happen that fast. It seems sometimes the legislators, and we won't get too deep into politics or you and I will both go insane on the show.
Yeah.
But of how they're mandating things when they don't see the ramifications of their decisions in so many other sectors. But this is a big deal. The good thing I see, though, for your brand is that your product can still be used on EVs. So there's a plus.
There's a plus, yeah, for sure. It's great for us. You still will need support, right? Either all that weight or handling with sway bars. So,
extra weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Batteries are heavy.
They are heavy.
Yeah, it's very cool. Last time you were on the show, and we always talk about this here, are people who are inspirations to us, driving inspirations, mentors. I'm going to flip this question around on you a little bit. First, we're going to take a break and thank our sponsors. But when we come back, I want you to think about the importance of you, let's say through SEMA, being a mentor for others. So keep that thought in mind, and we'll be right back. You listeners know that I'm a huge car care fanatic, and my friends at AutoGeek created their Wolfgang Deep Gloss Paint Sealant for perfectionists like you and me. Wolfgang, a deep gloss paint sealant, is designed to provide long-lasting protection and a glossy, slick finish that, well, it's unmatched. The use of polymer technology ensures your paint is protected from environmental contaminants, those damaging UV rays, and lasts up to 3 months long. By providing the glossy look of carnauba wax with the longevity of a synthetic formula, Wolfgang, a deep gloss paint sealant, is the best of both worlds. Go to autogeek.net to get yours for the best product selection on the internet today, along with their skilled technical support. Autogeek.net is where I go for all my detailing needs. That's autogeek.net. 20, 50, or 100 years from now, will there be a workforce to care for the collector vehicles we love? With auto shop programs disappearing across the country, it's a question we enthusiasts have to ask. That's why I support the RPM Foundation, which exists to ensure that the critical skills necessary to preserve and restore these vehicles aren't lost to time. One of the many ways RPM, which is short for Restoration, Preservation, and Mentorship, is accomplishing this goal is through workforce development initiatives. The RPM Apprenticeship Program enables the next generation of artisans to earn a living while they learn the craft of restoring and preserving these vehicles directly from industry professionals. The Endangered Skills Program documents the process of masters training future craftspeople on a variety of critical skills in danger of being lost forever. For more information on how the RPM Foundation is driving the future of the collector vehicle skills trade, visit RPM Foundation today. They're one of the charities of choice here on Cars Yeah! Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARS YEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. So we're back. So I look at you, Melanie, and your serving methods or your serving ways or your serving means on SEMA as being a mentor to others and helping others. Is that the way you view what you're doing? I know you now because you've been a guest on the show. I feel like we're friends. I don't see you as a person that is doing this just to help yourself. You are somebody who likes to help others in the industry. And you said it earlier, by being involved in SEMA, you can do much more than one individual person. That's the power of groups and organizations, right? So how do you see your mentorship working towards others?
Yeah, I appreciate that question, Mark, because, when I first got involved with SEMA through a mentor program. There was a woman who I really admired, and I just asked her, I said, could I call on you if I had some questions? And she said, yes, actually, there's a formal program. Let's get involved in that. And so I feel so lucky that I had this great mentor in the beginning of my career. And it's funny, last week, the timing is really interesting. So last week I got a card in the mail and someone asking for me to be their mentor. And my first reaction was like, wait, me, a mentor? And, it's interesting how the tables have turned. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's such an awesome opportunity. I mean, I'm a big sister, so I'm the oldest of 4 girls, and I'm not lacking opinions or advice. And so I love that others see that might have some value, because I'm afraid I annoy my sisters.
Well, I've got to chuckle at this a little bit, because your father and this legacy of men running Hellwig, and your dad must have been going, what's going on here? Where's the boy? Where's the boy? Where's the boy?
Yeah.
And all these girls. But I think he finally went, okay, well, it's going to be girls for me.
Yeah. And it's mostly girls in my generation with cousins too. So I just have one boy cousin. Uh-huh. Yeah. And the rest of us are all girls. So yeah.
There you go.
So we have a healthy girl population for sure.
I think it's great.
In my generation. Yeah. And it has been great.
It's so important to help other people. And I've been asked to do that with people over time, or for people over time. And sometimes I've even ended up being a mentor without even knowing it. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, this person calls on me, every couple of weeks, asks me questions. I guess I'm a mentor. I was just trying to help.
I know. I love when that happens naturally.
Yeah. It's really important. I always encourage friends and people, especially if you've been around, you've been doing things, you have so much value. And that's why I love hanging around with older people. I guess I'm one of those people now. Did I just say that? I think so. We were talking about that, becoming a grandfather. But when you've been around and you've seen things, you have so much vast knowledge that for younger people that haven't been there yet, and you just assume, many times I assume they already know that, but how can they, right?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah.
So as we look forward into the future, one of the things and the reasons you want to run for the SEMA board again is and I mentioned it in your introduction, you feel like there's still some unfinished business you'd like to attend to. So what is some of that unfinished business?
Yeah, I think the biggest there is just our influence in DC, and just overall as an organization. SEMA started, I really want to see SEMA get back to its roots. So SEMA started as a collection of individuals fighting against regulation in the beginning. And then, they had a fabulous car show, and that's sort of what they got known for. And I think that if we look at the most important things that we're going to do as an organization, it's really getting back to that. Where can we have influence? And that, I think, is really valuable in DC and regulation and legislation coming out. I think that's where I want to see us spend the most time. And, over the last 2.5 years, my service on the board, we have been able to make that headway. And we've also been, we canceled one of the only time we've had to cancel a show is within my service, right? So COVID really became a big distraction to what I wanted to see us do as an organization, and really where I wanted my influence as a board member to be. And so I really see this next election cycle to have this big opportunity for serving the next 3 years and achieving the things that I really desired to achieve in that influence. So in getting SEMA back to their roots.
Yeah, you mentioned that, back to their roots. And again, it's that legislation that comes down often from Washington, D.C. or state governors or state programs, whatever, that some of us go, well, I don't understand why you're doing this. Who's making this decision and why? And do you realize these decisions are affecting a lot of people in a very negative way? And many times these lawmakers just kind of glance over, well, there's going to be all this other stuff that'll come along. Don't worry about it. In the meantime, you have a whole bunch of companies going, you just put me out of business. What do you mean, don't worry about it? So is that really the core focus you're going to be focusing on for the next 3.5 years? And a lot of the SEMA, I would imagine, because these changes, as you said, in the automotive industry, especially with EVs, are coming down so fast that it kind of makes your head spin.
It does. Yeah, I think that I know that's where I want to spend the time. Land usage, all of that, right? Like you said, like they're glancing at something quickly, and the magnitude of it is so great that I really want us to have more, have their ear and understanding what the magnitude really would be for our industry.
Yeah.
I remember one of the, there's land usage, and there were out in the desert, turtles were at risk, and they were saying that it was because of off-road use. And so, they were going to close certain parts of the desert off so that, these turtles could be saved. And what it ended up being, we hired Sema back then hired a investigation and did an assessment, and it turned out that it was crows that were eating the turtles.
No, crows ate turtles.
Yes. And so ended up being something totally different. That's where I think that it's easy to make sometimes things seem a certain way, and there's oftentimes, the more we dig, the deeper we dig into situations, it's like, oh no, it's way more dynamic than we thought it was. And
Sure.
I think that's really what we have that opportunity to share.
Well, that's a challenge I see too with society as a whole, is we become headline junkies. Mm-hmm. You read a quick headline, but you don't take the time to read the article and really evaluate it. And you think, oh, okay, well, that's the way it is. Yeah, the turtles are being destroyed by off-road vehicles. Okay, that makes sense. Don't let off-road vehicles go out there and destroy the turtles. Whereas maybe that's not the case. Maybe, you go, okay, how could there be that many off-road vehicles destroying all the turtles? That's a big swatch of land. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe question a little bit. And the great thing is about what Sema is doing is, I don't want some listeners to go, oh, well, you're just all about, fighting every legislation that protects the planet. That's not what it's about.
No.
I can speak for myself. I'm sure for you, Melanie, we have children. Someday you'll be a grandma too, probably. Mm-hmm. And you'll want this planet to be around for those children and their children's children. And you want to protect those things. So, it's a different world, and it's a challenging world. So lots of challenges to be had. But my hat's off to you and everyone at Sema for what you're doing, because Sema is a great organization, and it fights for the good in all. I don't see it just as an organization that just is very selfish for just the automotive industry. They really are thinking things through, and like you said, hiring special groups to go in and realize, okay, it's the crows are the problem. So I'm not sure what we do about that, but that's another discussion for another day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to crawl into your head a little bit and be a bit of a psychologist. We talked a lot about your thoughts and what you're doing now, but I don't know that I asked you this question last time, but maybe if I did, it might have changed a little bit. If you were to reincarnate yourself, or you became reincarnated, manifest as a vehicle, what would you be and why? And this really is not about what you want to be. This is more about how you perceive yourself as you're carrying this torch of the Hellwig Products forward into the future. How do you view yourself as this vehicle?
Yeah. So I drive a Ford Raptor.
Yeah, cool.
Every day, and I feel at one with her when I drive her.
Yeah.
And she, so there's a part of me that feels like, it would be a Ford Raptor. But I hear you on the question. Okay. So I feel like there's a part where I'm more maybe like a Porsche Cayenne. So okay. I definitely have an engine. I don't slow down very often. And then I think there's just a lot that comes with it too, like the sports utility part of it, I encompass that as well. So, yeah. But I wish I was a Ford Raptor. So,
well, I was thinking of you yesterday. My neighbor has a Ford Raptor, and he just returned yesterday. I was sitting here at my desk, and it looks out on the street. And he drove by, just came back from his ranch out in eastern Washington. And his Raptor, it was literally, you could almost not see the red paint. It was covered in mud.
I bet it was.
He drives it like you should drive a Ford Raptor. Yeah. And I said, what happened? And he said, well, I wish we had been videotaping. It was a little wetter out there, and we were just going through these giant seas of mud. And yeah, I said, well, don't wash your car in your driveway because it'll all wash down in front of my driveway and I'll be having to go off road to get. So he went over to his daughter's house. She wasn't very happy about that either, but yeah. Well, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. As I've learned to know you. Now, I do ask my guests about books, and you did mention a book last time you were here, but is there something new maybe you've read in the last year or so that you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh, I am an avid Audible listener, so
Cool.
I probably
Okay.
have listened to 4 different books in the last month.
I like that.
Yeah, my son and I just finished The Martian, which is also a movie, but the book was so good. So that's definitely one just for fun that I would recommend. And then I was thinking about the last one that I just finished for mine was a Brene Brown Atlas of the Heart. I joke that I'm German, and so we sometimes aren't as in touch with, or I'm not as in touch with my emotions as I'd like to be.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah. So Atlas of the Heart was a good one just to talk about, different emotions and different feelings that pop up. So yeah, so that was fun.
Audible is a great way to consume books, especially if you're a busy person and if you have to commute. And I'm going to say this again. I remind my listeners, and every time I mention this to somebody in person, I just did it when I was traveling to the guy who was sitting next to me on the plane. He had no idea. And he actually was a professor at the University of Washington, teaches the history of economics. So this is a very interesting time for him to be talking to his students about what's going on in the economy, what's affecting it, and that, this has all been done before. It shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. But I said, if you like listening to books, just get a library card and you can listen to books for free. You can get them sent right to your device. You don't even have to go into the library, and your taxes already pay for the library. So there you go. So I'll remind you listeners, that's how you can get free audiobooks. Nothing against Audible, of course, but and if they don't have the book you want, you can request it and they'll get it. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of a cool deal. So I'm not going to ask you about the ultimate drive because last time you were here, we did take one in that Raptor, I believe. We went off-roading.
Yeah.
So I already know where we would go with that. What I'd really love to do is have you share maybe some parting words of wisdom or advice, and especially as you take on this new position, no doubt you'll be on the board. I have no doubt about that. But also your somewhat new role of running Hellwig and owning the company now, which again, my hat's off to you for that. Maybe some words of meaning or inspiration for our listeners today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I became an owner in 2019, so late 2019, so right before the pandemic.
Yeah, very nicely done. Your dad's a smart guy.
Yes,
here you go.
Yeah.
See you later. Bye.
And so the last few years have been very interesting and from a new seat, right?
Yes,
so
yeah.
I think in this position that I'm in now, right, like kind of looking back over the last couple of years, and I think the big thing is, for me, is just, the attitude that we're going to get through it. Whatever it is, we'll get through it. And that has been just really powerful. And just this year, I'm like, no matter what, we're going to have fun doing it. Because part of the last couple of years haven't been that much fun. And life is too short for that. And so I would just really encourage everyone to, have fun with what they're doing. And I look at now, like, especially because I committed to this year is going to be a fun year, what are the things that I'm doing that aren't fun? So I've been looking at that too, and just really trying to add that element of fun to everyone here, and especially at work. We spend so much time together here that I really want us, I want this to be a place that feels rejuvenating and, fun. So that's what we're doing this year.
Well, I love that. And your timing is perfect because in our pre-show chat, listeners, I shared with Melanie, my daughter is taking off on a trip today with her 8-month-old, my grandson. Her husband's competing in an Ironman competition next weekend. So you go, Matthew. And Paige, my daughter, was a little nervous about traveling with a more mobile baby right now who probably won't want to sit in his seat. And I sent her a meme, and this aligns with what you just said, Melanie. Attitude is the difference between an ordeal and an adventure.
I love it.
Yeah. Have that attitude that we are going to have fun no matter what we encounter. That's wonderful. How can people learn more about you and Hellwig Products?
Yeah, so Hellwig Products, you can find us on the web at hellwigproducts.com. You can find me on LinkedIn under Melanie White. And if you want to call, we still have a person that answers the phone here. So our number here at the office is 800-367-5480.
There you go. Absolutely. And I want to do a shout out to Luke Walsh at Con Media. Again, he brought Melanie back here. Con Media sends a lot of great guests to me. Awesome organization. If you need some PR from a company that understands the automotive industry, Con, that's the one to call. I also want to put a link to a very cool video that's on the Hellwig Products website. It'll give you a really good, warm feeling about this company. And if you have a need for what they do, Hellwig or Hellwig, I guess is the way we used to say it, right? As good Germans.
Yes.
Is the place to go. Melanie, hey, thanks for coming back. Congratulations to you for everything you've done. COVID is kind of going away, slow, not as fast as we'd like, but you made it. So that's very cool. My hat's off to you and to everybody that works there. What a wonderful organization. Until you and I talk again, and most likely next time I see you, we'll probably be at the SEMA show. I'll see you down the road.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome. This was fun.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.